What's going on, guys? It is the Coaster Battleman here, bringing you my favorite roller coasters at Silver Dollar City. Mainly their major roller coasters. This is these rides ranked from worst to best, and I recently went to this park and I had a blast. And this coaster collection is one of the best coaster collections out there, even though it's only six major roller coasters, seven in total. Let's go to the main countdown. Sixth place is Fire in the Hole, and even though this is the weakest major coaster on this list, it's not a bad ride. It's a pretty decent ride. It is a powered coaster for most of the course, but through it you have some pretty cool theming throughout the course. And then you have a couple pretty cool smaller drops, along with a water splashdown at the end of the ride. This coaster is a really unique ride and something you will not find at very many parks, because these kind of indoor old school coasters, they're not that common of rides, and I have never seen a coaster like this at any Six Flags or Cedar Fair park. And this was a really cool experience. Fifth place is Thunderation, and this is the single greatest aerodynamics mine train ever built. This coaster does not have its lift hill on the ride until about halfway through, or 2/3 of the way through, I should say, because the first half to 2/3 of this coaster is action through the terrain, several turns and helixes to the trees, including a pretty crazy double helix as seen in the picture, where it continues to get faster and faster and even more intense as it goes on, especially once you enter that tunnel before the lift hill. It's crazy. You would think a coaster where there's so much track before like this, you would think the lift hill would be right away at the start. No, it's halfway through the ride. And then the second half of this coaster has a pretty solid curve drop and another helix. This is a pretty massive coaster, and for a family coaster, it's pretty extreme. A really fun coaster overall. Fourth place is the B&M Sit Down Wildfire. This coaster offers some of the best views in the park, as you have these beautiful views of these massive trees and mountains. It's just excellent. And this coaster overall is a very fun ride. It's smooth, it's intense, it has really awesome inversions. My only complaint about this coaster is it is a bit short, but other than that, this is basically a perfect coaster. I really do enjoy Wildfire, but if I'm saying this is a perfect coaster, then you might be asking, how is it possible that there's more coasters above this ride? Well, there are three coasters that are top tier, top 15 rides for me overall ever, and here they are. This top three is insane. Starting out at number three with Powder Keg. And I would say if Millennium Force and Top Thrill Dragster had a child, this would be it, because it has a very fast, intense launch, several moments, and crazy helixes. And overall, Powder Keg is a really fun ride. It's pretty intense, it's fast, even though its max speed is barely above 50 miles an hour. It feels way faster than that. It is a very intense coaster. The airtime is awesome, especially with these S&S trains and these pretty nice S&S lap bars. You can get some pretty crazy airtime on this coaster, especially towards the back. And overall, this is a really action-packed coaster, and definitely the third best coaster at the park. Second place is Outlaw Run, and this is going to be a very interesting toss-up. Outlaw Run or the next coaster I'm going to talk about. And before I talk about the next coaster, I'm going to talk about Outlaw Run. This is an awesome RMC wooden coaster. has insane airtime, inversions, and not the longest ride in the world, but not a short ride either. It's kind of in the middle, in that sweet spot. And this coaster has a very awesome drop as well. Especially in that back row, you are going to get flung over, and every element on this coaster is excellent. And this is such an action-packed ride through the terrain. My only downside is the RMC restraints. They're so big and bulky, and you can't get your thighs crushed a little bit. But overall, this is an awesome coaster, and one of the best rides on the planet. But number one is Time Traveler, and this ride is just an absolute awesome experience. It is this bizarre mock rides, I should say, spinning coaster, and it goes upside down several times. It has a few launches. It has airtime, turns, and the best restraint system or one of the best restraint systems out of any coaster. It has these they're fairly small lap bars, and they can give you some crazy airtime. And right out of the gate after the station, you go into this massive, steep 90-degree drop, and if you're in that back car, you are going to get flung over that drop and get some crazy airtime. And this was the biggest surprise of this coaster. I knew it would be really good, but the airtime on this coaster and the hang time was insane, especially because of those lap bars. And this ride is just so much fun. Every time I get off this coaster, I'm smiling, laughing with joy. This coaster, every time, delivers a perfect experience. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was my list of the best coasters at Silver Dollar City. Stay tuned